My fellow Guamanians, this is a stack of hundreds of requests of tax refunds. This is only 1/3 of the actual stack. And they represent the people who come to the governor's office. They come here ashamed to ask for their own money because they are so desperately in need of help. They're not asking for some government subsidy or bailout. They're asking for what is theirs. When these people come in, they fill out a form so we know what their needs are. The thought process is that we would see who has the bigger emergency so that we can prioritize the limited resources. And let me read you some of these reasons people write down. My father is sick and he has cancer and I need to send him to Hawaii. My 7-year-old's daughter's surgery, going off island for medical treatment. My sister has breast cancer and needs to undergo chemotherapy in the Philippines. Please help me and my family. We're about to get evicted from my home and my car has just got repossessed this morning. I humbly wait for your help. Thank you. How can anyone prioritize these needs? Who can say that a person whose father is sick with cancer deserves a refund more than the person whose mother is dying of another ailment? This money belongs to the people of Guam. No one should have to beg for it. For 20 years, the government of Guam hasn't been able to pay your tax refunds on time. This is because it constantly overshoots its revenue projections and hardly ever adjusts its spending. So instead of making the tough decisions, the government decides that it's much easier to borrow that money from you by not paying your refunds. I wonder why it is that some people have a problem with borrowing money from a bank at a low interest rate, but don't have any problem borrowing this money from the poor people at a high interest rate. Well, this is what the government of Guam has been doing for 20 years, as though it was paying a high interest bond. The only difference is that right now, that bank is 44,000 people owed tax refunds, rather than a bank in New York that can afford to finance this mess. There is one option available to us that doesn't involve a bond, but that will pay the refunds by next year. That option is to shut down half the government of Guam and divert those revenues to pay these refunds. I don't believe that's realistic. So the question remains, what other solutions is on the table to pay this off? There is none. I've provided solutions to prevent government from spending more and racking up more bills against your tax refunds. That is the cost cutting and reorganization that we're currently doing. But that doesn't pay the bill that we already have. It only makes sure that this doesn't happen again. Senators, I've been explaining to you since January that the cash coming into this government is simply not enough to cover everything that you've mandated and every operational cost that you've budgeted. I've provided reports to you. Our fiscal team has responded to over 50 of your written requests for information. And when there was a mistake in one of those calculations, we had to spend an entire day before the legislature explaining it. But I don't think anyone is blind to the fact that there isn't enough money coming in. That's a stark reality. This government is just too big for its own good. It's been too big for the people's good. This is a conversation that's missing from the budget talks. Sometimes we get so mired in the mundane facts that we lose sight of what we're doing and why we're trying to help. There are thousands of people on our island who need help. They need their money. There is a solution on the table right now. And all it takes is 8 votes between now and August 30th to make it happen. For everyone who's come to my office and everyone who will come to my office looking for relief from your burdens in life, I want you to know that I will not relent. We will keep pushing this issue until the legislature passes a bond with the budget. I want you to not have to worry so much about your troubles in life because very soon this government will wipe out its debt to you and end a 20-year-old practice of taking money from you in order to pay for itself. Thank you for your time, and good night.